All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hello and welcome back after the break week we had last week. It is time for round 10 here, and what a race we have here in store. It's the final stretch, and oh my goodness, it's an absolute soaking wet British Grand Prix here for our short qualifying session. My name is Fallen Monkeys here in the commentators booth to take you through the action. Joined, of course, as always, by Jamie. And Jamie, how you doing today? Excited for the racing action we've got here in store here at Silverstone.
Good evening, Eric. Very nice to be back for round 11 after that Easter week last weekend. And yes, very nice to be back here at the British GP. As always, one of the oldest circuits on the calendar, along with Monza, Belgium, and Monaco as well. So yeah, very nice to be back here. Plenty of different layouts here at the British GP. I think it was last changed back in 2010 when Turn 1 was actually Cops. But yeah, different layout and very nice to see the drivers that are on the grid, and it's full wet, it looks like, from our screen. So let's see how the drivers tackle this 5.8 kilometre circuit. Look at that, full wet conditions indeed. And let's see how the drivers manage to tackle this circuit. It can be very, very difficult, especially the low speed and high speed corners as well, when you have to build up traction. And let's see then how they're going to manage it, like carry the speed into the corners, where they brake, etc., how late they can brake and how much speed they can take through the mid corners, like Cops as well. Or there we'll see some people struggle through there because it's quite a difficult corner. But yeah, very nice to see that all the drivers coming out on the track. And let's see then if he's going to transition into a dry race, because usually it can go into a wet qualifying session, then go into a dry race. But yeah, nice to see a mixture.
Yeah, it really. We'll see how it all plays out. Of course, we don't have much in terms of weather report here in the commentators booth, but of course, seeing a wet qualifying is really going to bring out the best of a lot of these drivers, I think, or the worst. It's just going to up the challenge here in this already challenging track when you're trying to get every little tenth of a second, every hundredth of a second. You mentioned Cops Corner as one where in the dries, especially here in Division 1, very easy to go flat out. Maybe here in these conditions, not quite the case, but we'll see how everybody handles it. Haggis and Beckett's, of course, another corner section, but it looks like XL Rocco is going to be leading the charge for the time being in the string of cars that are all on track. So, Jamie, do you want to take us through a lap here on board with Rocco?
Yep, so decent final corner to set himself up on the straight, the Lewis Hamilton straight, as we come into the first corner. Flicking in at 50 metre board, lift off into the first corner. You can see the back end sliding just a bit. Turn 2, you can see the experimenting with the throttle. Turn 3 now, braking down into third gear, 100 kilometres an hour, up into fourth immediately to try and reduce the wheel spin on the exit. We've got a few cars close to each other like QVR Campbell, but these low speed corners where the drivers have to build up traction before they can fully go on the throttle there. You can see him hesitated just a little bit, using all the track on the right hand side, very close to exceeding track limits for EXO Rocco. Now making our way through Brooklands. There's Luffield, sorry, wait, which corner is that? That's Brooklands, isn't it? Yeah, this is Luffield. So yeah, so coming into Luffield now. I didn't do my research before the race, but coming to Luffield now using third gear. You can see there, trying to get on the throttle. And let's see that into World Cup we go, nice and flat through there. Now going into Cops, fling it in at the 50 metre board, down into sixth gear for him. He will be flat out in the dry, but under these circumstances the drivers will be very careful, especially on their first opening laps. Coming into Magnus and Breckers then, lift off through here, that usually be flat, then you dab on the brakes through here. You'll be well committed through here. Coming into fifth gear then, as you come into the last part of the Magnus and Breckers, 10.9 in the middle sector. QVR Campbell has dropped off a little bit, so it looks like EXO Rocco then has got the pace. And let's see then how he comes, attacks it. You can see fourth gear using the throttle to rotate the car. As I'll make our way into the slow speed corners then. Here we go, the heavy brake zone, one of the heaviest brake zones for this track. Building the speed, looking very careful, wide the throttle on. And let's see how he makes it through the final corner. It's going to be a 37.8. Then let's see if anybody can beat him. We've got Nathan across the line with a 37.9. QVR Campbell P3, lower in the P4, replaced by Ben GS, who goes P4 right now. And we've got a few more across the line. Pease goes into P3 with a 38.1. Then one of the Williams drivers, H-Nest, across the line. It's not Calvin, it's Car Mentalist then. As always, let's see where he goes. It's P6, and Stephen goes into P4 with a 38.2. And these tires look pretty decent in the wet conditions, so 37.8 is the one they have to beat. If you're in a yellow flags, you want to go for consecutive lap times in the wet conditions, but Chivru Vizza then, a lap time with a 37.6 goes 2 tenths quicker on the wet conditions then. ahead of XO Rocco. But yeah, you want to be doing more than two or three laps to really settle in and get the groove of this car, really get the grip as well. That's how these wet tyres work. It's not like dry tyres where you can go for one lap, cool off, and go for another one because they don't even overheat as much.
Yeah, and that's that's the key for sort of like what you're mentioning here. Unlike what we would see in dry qualifying conditions, drivers are going to be doing multiple laps here around this circuit. I would think on those wet tires, take a couple laps just to get into that optimal temperature, just to get the grip, get the groove, so to say, here around these conditions. But Jerome, 137.6. He's got that top step of the timing table, but XL Rocco had all in all, it was a pretty good lap for him there as he held on to P1 over the course of what was pretty much the first round of laps. So very good. Jerome's got the time to beat. Of course, we'll have to see how the drivers are going to fare here as this qualifying plays along. Wouter invalidating his lap time once again. That's the second invalidation for the McLaren driver as he has yet to put on a time. Calvin, as he's coming around, I don't think it's going to be definitely not a representative of a time. He's actually got no front wing on that car, as I noticed. So diving into the pit lane, not ideal for him. And I think that's UW Kitten. I'm just going to call him Ariel Kitten here for the time being. Goes all the way up into 4th from being in around 15th, 16th. So a much better lap this second time around. Ariel seemed to be dominating here so far in this session. Other than XL and P2, it's essentially an Ariel top 5 -1 here.
I saw Dan Neising in P12. He had a snap of oversteer coming out of Magnus and Beckett. Saved it really well. He validated that lap time as well, but he's going for another one. You can see him sliding all over the track there. As you've seen, a lot of people do so. But yeah, these lap times coming in thick and fast. Nathan has invalidated, took too much curb in Cops, and sadly for him, he has invalidated his third run. XL Rocco is not on a lap time. Javru Visit is not on a lap time either, where Pease is invalidated it. Stevens going around Cops. He took a lot of curb through there. And the driver getting out of the way. There looks like a mistake made. He's actually backed out, has Steven. But yeah, not a lot of people on a flyer lap so far. Looks like they're invalidated it or making a few mistakes as they try to push the limits of the track. I think rotation then is on a flyer lap. Where's Nolan? He's down to P15. Jamie 1, P16. And Walter invalidated that lap time again. So I think rotation then is on a lap time. It's a few hundreds down in that middle sector. 110 down, but it's got quite a bit of traffic ahead of him. I think they'll be going for the push laps for those cars ahead. Will not be backing off as trying to get the temperature in the working range, and rotation makes its way around. Still a bit of twitch there, as you can see, but he heads back off into the pit lane. So not a lot of people are improving their lap times then around the course of this circuit, but Relentless Nathan's gone for another one as he's making his way down through the slow speed corners of turn 5, through the loop section, turn 5 and turn 6, up into 4th gear he goes. You can see him there, short shifted to reduce the wheel spin and experimenting with the throttle, as you can see there, as we make our way down at the end of the first sector, and he's 110 down, so it looks like he's not currently going for a flyer lap. But P's then, he's 110 up in the first sector. He's coming through Brooklyn, just right behind Relentless Nathan then, and you can see him there sliding the car all over the place, coming into Luffield. 4th gear corner now up into 5th gear as he tries to get the best out of the car through traction, as we make our way into Woodcut then. Flat out as easy as is Woodcut as we make our way into Copshead. We'll see people go down to 6th gear, 5th gear for him, but up into 6th immediately then to get the power down as we'll make our way towards Magnus and Beckers. A lot of people have been struggling through here. Flat out to the first part, dab on the brakes for the second part, and to the third part as well, dab on the brakes there. Took too much curb, and sadly for Pease, he has invalidated that lap time. His model sector was going to be 3/10 down, so I think he just backed out there. But QVR Campbell is coming through Stowe there, and we'll see if he's on a good lap time. No, he's not. He's in the pit lane. So yeah, quite a few people not improving on the course in this qualifying session. Looks like they're struggling as they try to push the limits of the car. But Walter, coming to the end of Magnus and Beckers then, has set an 11.7 through the first sector, and let's see if that 11.7 is really good enough to try and match the guys ahead. So one of the 3 drivers who have not set a lap time, along with Luke. Calvin is on an outlap somewhere. I think he's the Williams ahead of us as we'll make our way into the slow 3 corners then, breaking half of this part, getting the car connected to the curbs here. Riding the curves through this one, he wanted to drive, but not on this occasion. You can see there, trying to get on the throttle as we make our way towards the line. It's P11 only for Walter with a 38.7.
Yeah, just outside the top 10 for the McLaren driver, as that was, I think, his fourth lap here around the track. So I think struggling, like most, as you were hinting, to sort of get a grip here in these wet weather conditions. Other than those first laps for a lot of them, not much improvement. I mean, Luke crossed the line right behind, and he's got a 140 flat, which is really off the pace compared to what we've been seeing previously. Calvin as well, no time, and that's an invalidation for him as well. So he's going to have to go around again, and with time ticking down, not too much time, and Nathan as well, an invalidation. Pease looks to be on a lap, coming through Magus and Beckett's once again, so we'll see if he can take that a little bit better. He keeps it clean, but down into fourth gear through Chapel there, which is not seen too often. I think even in the wets, normally they'll be taking it around fifth gear or so. But it is something that I have noticed here in the wet weather conditions. Okay, and Pease, I think he wasn't too happy with that either, diving into the pit lane. But you'll notice a lot of drivers here in the wets. Ooh, his Killer Blue has a big moment there as he's approaching the old pit lane straight. So I don't think that's going to be any improvement for Killer Blue in the Alpine there. Saw the struggle getting onto the power, and like what I was about to mention, you're going to see drivers maybe upshifting very early here in this qualifying session, trying to keep the revs as low as possible, keep the car under control, because especially in these conditions, with how wet the track is, you over rev that car just a little bit too much, and you are going to be having a bad time, like what we saw Killer Blue just a little bit earlier. But I think he's going to be going again. Calvin, of course, staying out, going again as well. But track not nearly as busy as it was previously. Not too sure if drivers are just maybe in that transitionary period, and Ben putting on a set of soft tires, which is a little interesting on the call here. I doubt it's going to be drying up enough to put on the softs. It must have been maybe a little bit of a miscommunication on the pit wall, I would say, just putting on the wrong sets. But definitely won't be any improvement for Ben. But that's going to be a lot of wasted time here. With all considered, not too much time left here in this qualifying session, with that 137.6 that Jerome set way back on his first lap, still holding up as the quickest time here, with XL Rocco's first lap equally holding up. So interesting how we're not seeing too much improvement here.
We will do.
What's that?
We've got Steven on a lap time. He's gone 5/10 quicker in the middle sector. Mark's retired. Is that in the pit lane? That's quite. I'm not quite sure if it is.
Like
but
he's
he
just
goes
in
up
that left-hand wall there.
He goes into P2. In fact, Walter goes quickest with a 37.5, so these times are coming in there as they start to get used to the track. But yeah, Walter, the quickest man out there, he's on those tyres for 6 laps. That's how much they can take you, that's how much grip they've got in the wet conditions, and they don't wear out as much as you would say the dry compound tyres. But yeah, good lap times for Stephen and Walter for both of them. I think they're both going for another lap time. But yeah, we've got Kitten on our lap time there. He's 100th down in the first sector, but can definitely improve as he makes his way towards top there in the 6th gear corner, trying to carry as much speed as he can. That was close to almost losing the car there on the curb as he makes his way towards Magnus and Beckett's there. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. Sandy, Ario, Mark has retired from the session as more people get out there on their outlaps. As we see that Kitten make his way towards the middle sector, 110 down, standing for him, so he's lost a bit more time in that middle sector there, has the Mercedes driver. But yeah, let's see who else is on the lap side that we've got. Is Calvin on a lap? No, he's not. Standing for him. Calvin has invalidated on his lap. He was about 200 down in the first sector anyway. So is Carmentalist, his teammate, has also invalidated on his flying lap. We've got a rotation who's almost run out. Well, he hasn't run out of fuel. I thought he has. But standing for him, he's also one of those drivers who have invalidated their lap times. Ben JS on a set of softs. Yeah, he's out there on a set of softs. I don't think the conditions are nowhere near. But I can see some people switching over to the intermediates. That's very interesting then. So let's see if the conditions are good enough for the inters, but definitely not good enough for the softs.
No, definitely not good enough for the softs. We saw that a little earlier. But yeah, like you mentioned, we're seeing a couple drivers here on the intermediates. Most notably, QVR Campbell, who's just starting a lap here. I'm seeing Nathan, Rocco, and Jerome actually, who's a little bit further ahead, equally on those intermediate tires. So I'm gonna jump on board with Jerome as. We'll see what his Sector 1 time's looking. About the same as his run on the wets. So it looks like, at least if one sector is something to play by, it looks like we're kind of in that transitionary period where the intermediates and the wet tires have that same amount of pace. As a yellow flag, it looks like that's some... what's that? No, that was the other AlphaTauri. I think that was Luke on the outlap, just letting drivers through. Okay, nothing too issue with that. I thought we had a little bit of a spin, but through Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel now comes Jerome. I want to get an eye out on that Sector 2 time to see if there is a difference. And yeah, half a second quicker goes Jerome in Sector 2. So I think Jerome's confirming what some of the drivers might already be aware of here in these latter stages of qualifying, that the intermediate tires seem to be the way to go. And you can see that on the left-hand side of your screen with the tire choices. Just about everybody has opted to put on those intermediate tires. Only a handful of drivers, Kitten, Carmentalus Calvin, and Jamian, still on those blue-walled wet weather tires. But with less than 2 minutes to go, Jerome retakes that provisional pole. 36.771 is the time. QVR Campbell not too far behind with a 36.9, but I do think we're going to have a little bit of a shootout here in these final laps now, as I think the times are only going to improve, as you saw Nolan jump up to a 37.5. Who else is approaching a lap?
Nathan.
Yeah,
he's
Nathan.
with 1.3 Killer Blue's got quickest with a 36.7, but what about Nathan as he makes his way towards the line? It's going to be quick, and it is a 36.1. Let's see then if anybody else can improve on the lap time. We've got Exo Rocco, 1.2 seconds up in the middle sector, so he's on an absolute flyer, is Exo Rocco. He took provisional pole in these early stages, and looks like he's going for a good one as well on this lap time. We've got a car in the way, which is Jamie, his Haas teammate, who's on those wet tyres, it seems. Yes, he is still on those wet tyres, so yeah, he hasn't got enough time to come back in the pit lane and put a brand new set of inters. But Exo Rocco, though, is he going to snatch back pole position as he makes his way towards the line? It's a 35.9 for Exo Rocco as he takes back pole position there. Can anybody out there beat it as he goes for more rows? Killer Blue, 3/10 up in the first sector. Relentless Nathan on the lap time. Giroud Visser 1 second up in the middle sector. Giroud Visser keeping on him as he makes his way towards the final few corners now, as we'll make our way up into fourth gear as we're coming towards the last corner. Is he going to snatch back pole? Yes, he is, with a 35.3. What a lap time that was from Giroud Visser as he takes pole position away. QVR Campbell, 8/10 up in the middle centre, keeping on him because it looks like he's on a good lap time too as he makes his way towards the line now. It's P3 at 36.0 as he goes 9/10 quicker in that final sector. As these times are tumbling down then, and let's see who's still out there to try and dethrone Nathan at the top, Giroud at the top. Exo Rocco, 3/10 up in the first sector already. Already in the first sector, 3/10 up, so let's see if Exo Rocco then can find himself a pole position. The car ahead of him is spun, and hopefully he doesn't hit him, which he doesn't do, but yeah, it's a good job Exo Rocco managed to clear that car, otherwise it'd be in the way of Magnus Beckers. But Killer Blue up into P2 with a 35.8, then AlphaTauri next cross line. Relentless Nathan goes quicker with a 35.1, and keeping on Exo Rocco, he's just got 5/10 quicker in the middle sector then, as he's one of the next ones across the line. Hopefully the Mercedes didn't cost him any lap time, but thankfully he didn't crash into him either. But yeah, Exo Rocco coming towards Snowden, takes very carefully, using the track on the outside as he makes his way towards Vale. Coming into the slow speed corners now, and let's see then how he managed to take this final sector. Is he going to claim pole position? Can he get on the front row along with Nathan as he makes his way towards the line? It's a 35.3, and he slots himself exactly the same time as Giroud Visser. What a lap time there.
Wow, that was close there, the exact same time, but Jerome did set it first, so he gets that position, but it might not even matter here as Jerome's coming around the final corner himself, might be able to improve, and he does improve and snags that provisional pole away from Nathan here, with Pease jumping up to P3 here to get a provisional second row of the grid, and with only a handful of drivers left to go, I think that's going to be Steven crossing the line. He goes up into P6 right past Killer Blue, and I think that was the Ferrari up into 8th that we jumped on board with. So crazy qualifying right at the end there. We saw the initial times on the wets that held up for a good amount of that qualifying, but once it came time for the intermediate tires, that's where the fireworks truly came out. But at the end of the day, it's the Red Bull of Girone who takes that pole position. We'll be starting from P1 on the grid. Nathan in that familiar spot on the front row of the grid. We'll be starting alongside him, but I think we'll have the slightly more compromised line off the start with Pease, Rocco, and XL Larkin rounding out the top 5. So you can see that the intermediate tires were the way to go with the top 11 on those tires. Wouter, I think struggling for the most part in that qualifying, down in 12th, his best time on the full wets there. But now, of course, qualifying has come to a close. We're heading towards the start of the race. Will we be seeing more of these wet weather conditions like we saw in qualifying, or will things have dried up here in Silverstone? Will we have dry running? Here we go. Loading complete. Just need to wait for the screen to pop up, and
Yes.
it is nice and sunny skies. So getting a little bit of everything here, ladies and gentlemen. We had that wet weather showing in qualifying, but of course, now that we're jumping into the race, we've got those dry tire conditions. We'll see DRS, we'll see the drivers push, and I mean, Jamie, that could have been maybe a little bit of cause for some of the difficulty that we were seeing in that qualifying. Of course, drivers, they have the weather they have the weather available to them, so I think a lot of them, or pretty much all of them, would have put on a dry setup, which would have meant they struggled a little bit more than what they normally would in those wets, having to take that into account. But I think we're going to be seeing maybe drivers who were slightly off the pace in qualifying find that pace here now that we're back in the dry conditions in these nice and sunny skies. Free choice of tires as well, so let's take a look and see as we're starting the formation lap with Girone leading the way. For the most part, drivers picking the softs, but Girone, interesting, from P1, he put on a set of medium tires looking to go a little bit longer. Same with QVR Campbell down in 9th, as well as the two Mercedes and oh no, the Mercedes and the Alpine. Sorry, their colors are so close together. But the two Williams as well. Carmentalist and Calvin also on the mediums. Rest of the grid on the soft tires. I think it's a bit of a toss-up here, if I'm going to be honest. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, but tire wear here around Silverstone, really not all that bad. It's a fairly easy one-stop either way, whether you go mediums to soft, soft mediums. Just depends on how you want your strategy to play out here.
Yep, tyre wear is not an issue, and yeah, you'll see the easy soft to medium and medium to softs. Giroud Vizza then I think he'll be struggling at the start just a little bit there, because everybody behind him is on a set of soft compound tyres. Their jobs is trying to fight Giroud Vizza, pull away from him as much as he can, because he's on the medium compound tyres, but looking to go much longer in this race. So if Giroud could defend those places, and Nathan going off the track there, taking out one of the balls. But yeah, if Giroud can defend these places, it'll be better for him as he's further up the grid and he's going longer. But yeah, QVR Campbell, the likes of him, I expect to start the medium compound tyres further down in 9th place. Kitten, BenGS, Commentalist Calvin, also the medium. So yeah, expect those people to start the medium compound tyres being further down. Yeah, the reason why they can start whatever tyres they want, because it was a wet qualifying session on the Inter, they used no dry compound tyres, so therefore they can start whatever tyres they want to, mediums or softs, as they all make their way towards the grid there. Nobody disqualified from the race. XL Rocco and XL Larkin, P4, P5, had a really good qualifying. They also had a good race as well, back in Portimao. They both got the podium together, did XL Rocco and XL Larkin. So let's see if they can keep up this good form and good momentum they've got ever since Portimao.
Yeah, we'll see if they can. We'll see if they can keep up that pace. The qualifying was a great start, but now, of course, they got to keep it up here for 26 laps as the grid is set, awaiting the cue for the 5 red lights to start this Grand Prix. Here, we'll see how drivers are going to fare here, as you can hear the engines revving up to 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5 red lights quick lights out here, and away we go to start the British Grand Prix. And it looks like it's a fairly... Oh my goodness! Ooh, big moment there, as it looked like that was a Haas that was sent off. Couple drivers going wide through turn 1. You can see that's an AlphaTauri. Maybe Luke there that was struggling a little bit.
Spun.
And yeah, that's a McLaren that spun. That looks to be Wouter, who's falling down the order. But you can see here Dan and XL Rocco having a battle with XL Larkin trying to get by, as well as we're heading down the straightaway. Looks like XL Larkin has the outside line. Can he stick it here? Nathan, meanwhile, up at the front, making a move on Jerome for the lead of this race, and Nathan does get the overtake done. So for Jerome, not what he was hoping for here with those mediums. He's going to try to last a little bit long, but he's going to have to keep Ariel Nathan at bay here, because we've seen what happens in the past. Once Nathan gets ahead, he just has a habit of just completely running away with it here. But 2x2 here between XL Larkin and Rotation, just about sorting that out through Magus and Beckett, as they almost went side by side through the challenging corner section. But Larkin taking a bit of a compromised line, which allows Luke to get ahead as he's going side by side. And you can see that looks to be Kitten also sneaking down between both of them there. So Luke goes up into 9th, Kitten in 10th, XL Larkin not having the start he was hoping for, all the way down in 11th now. And Larkin and Rocco both not having that ideal start there. Must have been caught up, like we can see a lot of drivers there that got caught up in those incidents right on those first few corners.
Yeah, I was aboard with XO Rocco. I wanted to keep it out him in 4th place, see how the top 3 got away. But actually, XO Rocco had a very poor start. He dropped down the order. Then something happened between XL Larkin and Rocco. They just made contact together on the straight. And sadly for them, I think they broke up full damage, and sadly all the way down. That's why you saw them losing loads of positions there. The drivers in P4 and P5, sadly, all the way at the back with Wouter, Mark, Nolan. I saw both McLarens make contact because Nolan got out of shape into turn 3, locked his wheels up, and Wouter was there to save him, as sadly they both sustained full wind damage. So it was a half spin for Nolan, saved by Wouter, but not ideal for both McLarens because they're both double stacking in P17 and P19 there. So yeah, it's a shame for them. Wouter last time out was a winner in Portugal. Then Giroud Vizor, you expect him to lose positions early in this race, being on those medium compound tyres, got Steven all over the back of him, and yeah, Nathan and Pease would want to pull away from Giroud as much as they can to make their strategy work. But Giroud, if he can stay this DRS train, it'd be absolutely beneficial for him being on those medium compound tyres. But yeah, let's see how this race plans out. Then QVR Campbell got a good start being on those medium compound tyres. Mediums, 9th place all the way to 6th. Dan Nysick as well had a good start as well, with Rotation following in P8. But yeah, as the drivers and I settled, sadly it was a bad lap for XL and Rocco, XL Larkin and Rocco. But Pease immediately picking up a 3-second time penalty on lap 3, or on lap 2, sorry, that was before. But yeah, that's not ideal for his start of the race there, already early in this race. Hopefully he don't pick up any more, because that definitely not do his favours for his race. But yeah, Stephen then, the DRS enabled. Giroud Vizor then is in the DRS of Pease. Pease desperately trying to close that 1 second gap and pull away from total Giroud Vizor, as he's outside the 1 second range of DRS. So he needs to get himself in that 1 second DRS. But Giroud Vizor, if he could stay there, it'd be absolutely fantastic for him. He's defending off Steve at the time being.
Yep, and you can see the train starting to form from 2nd all the way down to 7th here from this lead pack. And sort of like what I was saying, Nathan took the lead of this race, and I think Pease maybe part of those penalties, part of those warnings that he was taking, just trying to push the limits of the track to just try to keep up with Nathan. We've seen the pace that Nathan has here, and already a 1.5 second gap just about here as he's starting to take a bit of a commanding control. Meanwhile, everybody else just stuck in this DRS train. He's trying to hold off. Let's see what he can do here on the hanger straight as Jerome trying to close up on those mediums. Also going to have to keep Steven at bay. It's going to be close here. You can see just on the back of Pease, but not enough to get the overtake done. Is Steven going to try something down the outside of those final few corners, but just can't quite make it stick there, and a bit of a compromised exit around the final corner here across the line means that Jerome just has a little bit more breathing room here to start lap 4 compared to what was just a couple moments ago.
Steven trying something different there. He's definitely trying to get around the outside, trying to overtake Giroud as he can, because he knows he can't afford to stay behind Giroud on those medium compound tyres. He's stuck in the DRS train, but he got a better exit with those grippier soft compound tyres. And there he goes then, pulls alongside Giroud as he makes his way down the inside. Let's see if he gets this done. Giroud is sticking his nose around the outside, which converts into the inside line, making Steven go all the way around the outside. Both holding their ground so far, but Steven goes out wide, and Giroud comes back. Killer Blue is right behind Steven as well, so Steven has made that position stick, and sadly he's in P4 behind Giroud. Good attempt from Steven there, but Giroud holding his ground, has the inside line and pushed him all the way around the outside, stopping and overtaking him. So good tactics there from Giroud, but Steven will have to try again into the Hanger Straight and down at Buckland, down at Stowe if he can. Let's see if he gets a better exit cut out of here. Giroud this time will have DRS, and let's see if he'll get him. Calvin picks up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately for him, but sadly Steven not too close enough to make a move on Pease on this occasion, as he's got DRS ahead. And Pease has almost run out of ERS already, as something's happened in the midfield there. Rotation's got past, in fact, the side by side with Kitter. Kitter gets a better exit around the outside, and he gets past him for P9. On those medium compound tyres as well, as Carmentis and BenJS exchange positions up into P11, goes BenJS.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good battles there throughout the field. We saw Steven, I think he's well aware that Jerome's on those medium tires. He's trying to get ahead, and it was a good attempt there to try to make the overtake stick, but just you got to hand it to Jerome, positioning his car well, keeping with them on the side by side. Compromised the initial line one lap ago, but worked out for him. And you can see now a bit of a kerfuffle being held back by Pease. Nathan, meanwhile, 2.4 seconds now ahead, as Pease is getting involved in this battle, as Jerome's not letting him go lightly here. Which, to be fair, isn't helping Steven all that much as he's trying to get ahead. But of course, he's finding himself in that famous third car back in that DRS train. So struggling to really gain much on Jerome, who's getting DRS on Pease, who's right behind. And with the tire difference, I think Pease is just nailing those exits that he needs to in order to just be able to stay ahead. But on board with Steve, and he's getting close. There goes Jerome overtaking Pease. Can Steven get the overtake done as well? Side by side now with the Alfa Romeo car. And it looks like he does just make the move. Meanwhile, QVR Campbell and Dan, I think, were just about alongside one another. That was Killer Blue and QVR Campbell, excuse me, that had that little bit of a battle there, as Killer Blue up in fifth place there. As you can see, drivers just trying to battle it out here in these early stages, gain their positions as much as they can here. But of course, that train isn't helping all that much. Maybe only seeing one overtake, and it's really relying on the corner exits here. But Jerome back up into second. You can see he's starting to lose out just a little bit, as now Killer Blue is going to attempt an overtake around the outside. Can he stick it now is going to be the question. He's going to get the inside line here for this next corner. Just ahead is Killer Blue, and P is looking to be struggling a little bit here over the course of the last lap and a bit, going from second all the way down to fifth here in a span of 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah, the car just doesn't look tuned in. It doesn't look balanced on the Alfa Romeo car. In terms of Pierce not really enjoying it. Maybe he's suffering with overheated tyres early in this stage of the race. I've seen him taking a lot of a corner, and sadly in turn one he did cut the corner, so he might have picked up another warning. So he's falling backwards, and he might have QVR Campbell for good measure as well. Pierce does have DRS. He's going to defend on the inside line. QVR Campbell does not go for the move, but Pierce struggling coming out of Stowe then, compromises exit, and QVR Campbell couldn't overtake him as the door was firmly shut on him and couldn't get the run. So P's parking the car very nicely there in the middle of Stowe, disabling Campbell's chances of opening and trying to take it down the inside to the next corner. So P stays in fifth place for the time being. But yeah, he's using a lot of BMS as P's, and he's very low at the time for the time being. So yeah, he's definitely struggling in that. For maybe setup wise, maybe he forgot to change it during the dry race or something like that. But he's falling back in the clutches now of QVR Campbell and Dan Isaac, who himself is doing a good job down there in 7th place. Larkin and EXO and Rocket are fighting for P50, not the places they want to be fighting, as they want to be 10 places further up fighting for P4, P5 where they were initially. But Killer Blue's also doing a good job as well. He's right at the back of Steven, who's on the back of Chivu Vizza. But who's impressed me so far is Chivu Vizza being on those medium compound tyres. I thought he would not drop too much, but drop a few places behind, such as 4th or 5th, with the others on the soft compound tyres. But he had a good start. And yeah, he's only lost that one position towards Nathan. And let's see that with those medium compound tyres, could be a little bit better than the softs at this stage. Let's see if he can pull away from these guys behind 3rd and 4th. But very hard to do so being a DRS train. But when it comes to lap 10 or 11, that's where we'll see some pit stops come. As the softs, their peak performance will be over.
Yeah, and we're approaching that period sooner rather than later, as we are on lap 7 right now. So I think Drone reaping the benefits that initial stage of it, albeit not much battery in the tank, only 19% ERS and counting here, as he's just trying to keep everybody else at bay. Steven, meanwhile, sitting with about 2/3 of a tank in that, as far as his battery is concerned. So still a lot that he can push with, that he can fight with if he can close that gap. But of course, like you said, Jamie, those soft tires are they're, I wouldn't say a ticking time bomb, but that peak performance range is starting to approach here, especially for the likes of Steven, Killer Blue, Peas, which you might have already seen a little bit here, given that they've been caught having the battle. Peas, meanwhile, under pressure from QVR Campbell, not enough straight for QVR Campbell to get the overtake done, as Peas can remain in 5th place. But, I mean, of course, they're all still just trying to catch Nathan, who's sitting in a comfortable 2.6 second gap. He's been pushing quite a bit as well on those soft tires, only 15% ERS, 15% battery here, but he's got that extra little cushion here between himself and Jerome, so a little bit of an advantage there for Nathan. But lap 8, you can see Steven, does he have enough to be able to close? He's getting there, but I don't think it's going to be enough here. But meanwhile, QVR Campbell going side by side with Peas just behind, and QVR Campbell looks like he makes the move stick, and Peas has had enough. He's diving into the pits, and who is that? That's an Alpine as well. Killer Blue also taking that slightly early pit stop here on lap 9. They've had it with those with that set of soft tires. They're going to try something different, try an undercut here, get on the medium tires a little bit early and see if they can use that fresh set to gain a couple positions. Looks like Luke is also trying that same strategy here, getting off those softs and putting on that fresh set of mediums. Should be their final pit stop here in the afternoon, barring any unforeseen circumstances, I guess so to say.
QVR Campbell, that promotes him up into P4 with Kitten in P6. About 2.2 seconds away from Dan is Kitten, but QVR Campbell in a good position now in P4, those medium compound tyres. So is Javuvis though. So Steven there, where will he pit? He knows the guys behind, such as Killer Blue, who was fighting before. Killer Blue decided to pit to get outside the DRS train. He was in battle with QVR Campbell and Dan Isaac. So let's see that if he can use those medium compound tyres to his advantage. He's got a nice clear gap as Killer Blue towards Jamie with a 20-second gap. So he can use that to try and close in. And let's see then if Steven will react on this lap. So is Dan Isaac down in P5. But yeah, it looks like Peas was just definitely struggling on those soft compound tyres. Had no grip whatsoever. Even at the early stages of the race, Javu Vizza was able to stick with Total Peas at the early stages of the race where the soft compound tyres would be at its best. But yeah, Total Peas have rejoined P13 behind Killer Blue. And let's see then if they can try to do the undercut on Steven and Dan Isaac, because Nathan then continues to head onto lap 10. A 2.7 second advantage between those two as rotation then dives into the pit lane. Another one on those soft compound tyres going towards the mediums. And let's see then if where he can rejoin. But I think Dan Isaac then should definitely pit because he's stuck in the DRS train. He could barely do anything about it, but he's stuck there in P5. There's 3 cars ahead of him. You might want to think about pitting so he can get off those softs and put on the medium compound tyres and break the DRS train and try and use that to his advantage and see if he can undercut Steven. But yeah, where's Killer Blue? He's right behind, he's ahead of Peas just for the time being. Those two having a battle for P 12. And let's see that Killer Blue's pace was amazing at the start of the soft compound tyres. He decided to pit to get out of the DRS chain, but he's got P's all over the back of him. Those two can ill afford to battle with each other as they need to close the gap as much as they can on their fellow soft runners. But yeah, it looks like Nathan then still extended the gap between himself and Giroud. The gap was 2.5, now it's 2.9, so yeah. Definitely pulling the gap. Maybe Giroud is thinking about the guys behind, just pulling away and defending, because Steven's all over the back of him. So it's helping Nathan pull away for the time being. But Steven then, he's got a lot of ERS in his disposal, might use it down the straight if he wants to, which he is deploying it right now. And Giroud then will be sitting duck on the straight with no DRS. And here he comes then, Steven. Nicely easy move for him as he moves himself up into second place. Steven's got decent pace despite being on the soft compound tyres, but will he dive into the pit lane on this lap? No, he doesn't. Nope. But I think Dan will. Yep, here to the pits he goes.
Yep. So Dan taking a pit stop. And I think he felt he had no choice here with everybody else of his direct competitors equally taking a pit, taking those stops. Steven, meanwhile, he's staying out. I think Steven may be managing those tires just a little bit better. Could be why he was playing it a little bit more conservative with Jerome through the last couple laps, knowing that he wanted to make those tires last, knowing Jerome's been pushing a little bit. And look at that, Steven, once he made the overtake, 0.8 of a second ahead, so it looks like he still has a decent amount of life left in those tires. He might be looking to maybe match Nathan, who, to be fair, Steven's brought that gap down to 2.2 compared to, what was it, 2.9 about a lap ago, Jamie, you were saying? So, yep. I mean, Steven's really still got a decent amount of pace on those softs, so it looks like he's making the most of it now with that slight clean air that he's got here. Now that he's back up in second. But you can see Peas and Killer Blue exchanging positions here. It looks like they're battling just a little bit, or it could have just been the that DRS helping out Peas a little bit. But up in the ninth now is Peas. They're still essentially the lead cars of this that new pack. Dan, though, came out not too far behind in 11th, only 1.2 seconds back. And like I was thinking, Nathan dove into the pits, and that was Steven following suit. So we're going to have to see where these two runners are going to come out. Did they gain time or did they lose time in reference to Peas, Killer Blue, who took their pit stops, I think, about 2 laps ago. So you can see Jerome taking the lead of the race, QVR Campbell keeping him under pressure, but I'm more interested in where Peas is now, just coming around the final corner, going to be crossing the line to start lap 12. You can see both Nathan and Steven just leaving the pit lane. Steven might just be overtaken here. It's going to be close, and Steven comes out ahead, but Peas making the move down the inside very quickly here. They're alongside one another here as they're approaching the straightaway, and it looks like Peas does get the overtake done, and Killer Blue also, I think, saw an opportunity down the to make an overtake, but didn't quite work. Now he gets it done with the help of DRS, and it's a 3-car tussle here. And it looks like now Killer Blue gets ahead. He's up into 8th, Peas in 9th, and Steven, after taking that pit stop, down in 10th. Nathan, meanwhile, with that slight extra gap, he was able to get out well ahead of all of that, and I think that played to his advantage here, as he didn't have to get involved with that battle that we saw Steven get involved with the Killer Blue and Peas as they were coming out of the pits.
Yeah, Steven was a duck on the relative straight because Peas tactically went down the inside, and he had DRS as well, managed to make the move before the detection point. After the detection point, he was in the second of it as well. So Steven came out of the pit lane, warming up his tyres, and Killer Blue took advantage of that, got past both cars in the process. So good tactics there from Killer Blue, making his way past Total Peas and Steven. And Steven essentially at the back of this DRS train where you want to be. He joined ahead of them both, but Peas diving down the inside, having DRS to assist him out of the corner, but Killer Blue had the slipstream on both of them. Talk about him, he should set the fastest lap of this race as well for good measure. And Nathan is up into P6, Killer Blue in P7 with Peas in P8, and Steven in P9. Nathan having clear air ahead of Killer Blue. Killer Blue had 3 laps to try and reduce the gap as much as he could. It went down to 2.8, but all eyes focused on now with Giroud Vizza and QVR Campbell. QVR Campbell at the back of Giroud Vizza, so this could be an interesting fight. These two have had a scrap of back in Saudi Arabia, but they both came together sadly on that occasion. But QVR Campbell then ran the back of him. And let's see that as we come onto the hanging straight, will QVR Campbell think about going for an overtake? He's got a lot of EOS, so much Javu Vizza, but he doesn't use it. It closes the DRS, so he doesn't want to go for it too early. He's just waiting, biding his time to overtake him, thinking about the later and the long term of this race. But Killer Blue then, the DRS leader, ahead of Total Peas and Steven, and Dan Neising then is in DRS range of Steven as he wasn't before, but now he is. Thanks to those three battling, Dan Neising was able to close in on the guys ahead and put himself in DRS range, so he can start closing on those guys ahead. Meanwhile, Ben JS did a fantastic job to hold off both Williams there in P4 and P5, both Williams on the same strategy. Killer Blue then has been overtaken by Total Peas, and he moved himself up into P7 ahead of the Alpine then. Steven just slightly went off the track, might have picked himself up a warning, but yeah, keep an eye on 11th place Kitten. Went from mediums to soft very early in this race, so he's on the soft compound tyres, has to make them last about 30 a lap, so let's see if he can do it. He can do it, but the softs there will be fading off towards the end of the race.
Yeah, he took that pit stop very early. I think it was only a lap after a lap or two after the likes of Nathan and Steven pit to come off of the soft tires. Kitten, he had enough of the mediums, so went towards the softs. He's gonna have to make them last quite a bit here. Of course, tire wear not all that bad, but unless he does a little bit of management here, it's going to be difficult. You can see, meanwhile, Steven trying an overtaker on the outside of Killer Blue. Killer Blue had the much better line though in that corner around the inside, and he's able to stay ahead. And Steven compromising his exit just a little bit here as he's trying to make something work to get ahead, to get up into P8 and try to get a bit of a move on as he wants to catch up to Nathan, who now has a bit of a 4-second gap between himself and Pease, who's that lead car in this little train we're watching here for what is considered the net lead. Ben JS and Carmentalus taking their pit stop, and oh no, poor Ben speeding in the pit lane, 5-second penalty. That is not going to that's not going to go too well with the driver. A little bit of a slight mistake there, misjudgment of the pit line with that braking zone. So he's really gonna have to get a move on here with those soft tires to try to account for that penalty that he picked up there, entering the pit lane to put on those sets of softs.
Steven Kitten has set the fastest lap of the race down there in P9. He'll be on the back of this DRS train soon, but when he gets there, will he struggle? Because these guys ahead, all have got DRS, but when Kitten arrives eventually, I wonder if he'll struggle in this train. Will he get past him easily, or will he just be a victim of this train and just stay there? Because I've known it in the past where people on fresher tyres, they catch up, but they can't make an overtake because the guys ahead have all got DRS, and basically they all carry the same speed down the straight and essentially have no advantage to each other. But yeah, let's see then how easily or how hard it will be for Kitten to get past. If he can't get past, then that's his strategy over. He's looking to go very quick on the second stage of the race on those soft compound tyres. QVR Campbell, meanwhile, very close towards Javu Vizza, but I think let's see if he's waiting for the soft compound tyres. Will he do an undercut early on Javu Vizza? Lap 16 out of 26, those soft compound tyres could definitely go towards the end, but I was looking at Steven, and he's all over the back of Killer Blue, desperately trying to regain his lost positions there as we head onto the hanging straight yet again there. You can see Steven applying the EOS, so is Killer Blue. No, he's not. He's very low on the EOS. And here we go, side by side then. Has he made the move stick this time? Yes, he has. He gets himself up into P6 and start putting pressure on P's ahead, up into P5. But yeah, Steven then lost ground after he came out of the pit lane as P's made the move down the inside, and essentially Killer Blue followed as well as Steven had no DRS, but this time he will, right behind P's as Calvin then comes out of the pit lane on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. His battle is with Ben JS and Rotation and Carl Mentalist as well, and those are the fresh soft compound tyres, so expect them to be coming up towards the field as well. As you can see, Kitten there in the DRS range now on Dan Neising. Let's see then if it is how hard or easy it will be. I thought this was an early pit stop on those medium compound tyres. And look at that, somebody spun, and that is Killer Blue. He's hit the wall, and he lost it all by himself on traction there. Killer Blue applied the throttle very early, sadly lost traction and lost his wing as well for good measure. So that's a massive shame for Killer Blue. He was doing a fantastic job down there, but yeah, got a sort of ambition ahead of Adhesion there, but yeah, that's cost him a lot. And sadly for him, he's got to rejoin all the way down in last place after taking a pit stop and putting on a brand new full wing. But yeah, it's dirty air as well, slow speed corner, it's very easy to lose traction as Javu Vizza then makes the pit stop, so protecting himself ahead of the undercut threat of QVR Campbell then as he puts himself on a brand new set of the soft compound tyres. Carl Mentalist has got past rotation as you expect on a brand new set of softs and continuing his battle towards Ben JS and Calvin down there in P12.
Yeah, I mean, very unfortunate for Killer Blue going for that spin. I mean, it wasn't the worst case scenario given that he was able to remain in the race, but very unfortunate as that's going to be a pit stop to get a wing change. Steven, meanwhile, got ahead of Pease with a little bit of help of DRS as he's up into 4th now, as he's going to have to try to close up on Nathan. You can see Jerome now down in P3. He's just coming out of the pit lane now, and he slots himself between Pease and Dan, right up on the back of Pease, and we'll see if he can make those soft tires work for him. He's going to have to get past a couple cars for his strategy to work out. He needs that clean air to be able to use the softs to their full potential here to try to close up and even challenge Nathan, but being stuck in that third car, not ideal. But you can see Pease, meanwhile, and Steven having a little bit of a battle here as Pease tried to make a move, didn't quite work out. Meanwhile, Luke lost 2 positions there to both Ben JS and Carmentalist on those fresh set of softs. So you can see that's working out for him, or not working out for Luke, working out for Ben and Carmentalist. But my eyes are on this pack of cars, so you can see 3 cars he can throw a blanket over here, following one another through Maggots, Beckett's, and now Chapel as they head down the hangar straight. Are we maybe going to see Jerome use those soft tires to his advantage? Steven, a bit of a sitting duck here. You can see Pease and Jerome splitting the Mercedes car, and Jerome overtaking both of them, it looks like, as just gets ahead of Pease over through the corner as he's up into 3rd now. Exactly what he needed to do for Jerome now. He's got those fresh set of softs. He's in 3rd. He's going to have to try to close that 5-second gap to Nathan here. QVR Campbell, meanwhile, he is ahead, but he has yet to take his pit stop, and he's going much longer than the rest of the field here on those on that initial set of medium tires. So an interesting call from QVR Campbell. I thought he would have taken his pit stop by now to go to the end. We'll see if that strategy is going to work out for him, trying that overcut, or if he's going to be missing out. Meanwhile, you had mentioned Kitten here on that fresh set of softs. He's now stuck behind Steven and just can't quite seem to get ahead. And I think a little bit of what you were saying, Jamie, that he's got he had those fresh set of softs, but kind of being stuck in the back of this train, not really working out for him. If it was maybe 2 or 3 cars, it wouldn't be all that bad. But I think being stuck behind so many of them, that advantage just kind of evened out there as everyone was just battling for position with that DRS train. So still sitting in 6th. We'll see what he can do here now with about 6-7 laps to go as QVR Campbell does finally take his pit stop. He puts on a set of soft tires as Carmentalist and Ben JS continue their battle. Meanwhile, this time around it's Carmentalist getting up into 8th, Ben JS down into 9th, as that move was brought to you by that DRS just a little bit there down that hangar straight.
So it looks like Chivuvas has got himself ahead of QVR Campbell, but the two were split by total P's in third place then. So QVR Campbell is still behind, but he's got a fresh tyres by a few laps. So QVR Campbell then, we almost lost him coming out of there to apply the throttle very early. These tyres still need to get up to temperature, but QVR Campbell then, he has to get past total P's. Total P's is a DRS contention of Chivuvas, who's used a lot of ES on that lap to try and get ahead of QVR Campbell. Also set the fastest lap of the race as well. But yeah, QVR Campbell then down there in P4. He has to get past total P's. Those freshest set of soft compound tyres are definitely going to help him. And let's see then how amount of time it is. But looks like both Mercedes are 5 and P5 and P6. Talk about Kitten. I think like 2 laps ago he made a move on Dan Neising, and it was a really lovely move. He tried to do something different because he was stuck in that DRS train. He couldn't get him into Stowe, so he got him into Vale. But Dan stayed ahead in Vale. But it looked like Kitten got him into the final corner and took 6th place away from Dan Neising. It was a good move from Kitten there. And here we go then on the straight. As you can see there, Total P is just backing off as he didn't want to overtake Chivu. It must be frustrating for Campbell, but he'll carry more corner speed in comparison to Total P's. Let's see how aggressive he is on Total P's. Doesn't go down the inside on this occasion. Total P's, he's still there ahead, right in front, but QVR comments has been overtaken by Benji S, as those two are having a fight throughout the whole race. But yeah, QVR Campbell then coming towards turn 1 and towards turn 2 and carrying more speed with those fresher soft compound tyres. You can see there, Total Piece is already derated, so it could be a sitting duck on the straight if it wasn't for Giroud's DRS. But QVR Campbell then lurking all over the back, taking different lines, trying to get a better run on Total Piece. But Total Piece got a decent exit coming out of the slow speed corners here. And let's see QVR Campbell then applying the ERS. He knows Total Piece is low on the ERS, but can't quite do so on this occasion. He's stuck in that DRS as both Mercedes exchange positions as Kitten is up into P5 ahead on Stephen. Yeah, this must be frustrating for QVR Campbell. There's 6 laps left to go, and this fight is with Giroud's fight is with Nathan, as the gap is 3.8 between those two. Nathan doing a fantastic job at the front. Let's see if Giroud can pull that gap towards him, and Total P's then coming into Cops. Looks like QVR Campbell carrying more speed in comparison to him. But as we go into Beckers then, can QVR Campbell try and get a better exit? You can see QVR Campbell there. Total P's is flashing already on the straight. Let's see then, can QVR Campbell use these soft compound tyres to his advantage and overtaking Total P's is derated on the straight. QVR Campbell knows it, and he will pull to the right hand side with Total P's, but QVR Campbell also go right, and there we go then, down the inside, into Stowe we go, and P's is still on the outside. He goes off the track, but here comes P's there, will he go back down the inside of QVR Campbell, try to stay there with him, and they go side by side into Vale, but QVR Campbell eventually gets out ahead as the winner. His next target is Giroud.
Yeah, and you saw it there, just a tiny little bit, the smallest of lockups into that braking zone from Pease, trying to get the car stopped in time. Slight little bit of contact with the side pod, but no worries whatsoever there. Wouldn't have noticed if I didn't see QVR Campbell's hand go up there as it does. But now, being that car too, QVR Campbell making quick work of Jerome Visser now to get up into second place, as now on that slightly fresher set of tires, he's going to have his chance now with clean air to try to push Nathan, who's sitting in that relatively comfortable 3.6 second gap now. But considering a couple laps ago it was about 5 seconds flat, even throughout the battle, you can see these drivers have been catching up little by little here to that lead runner. He's, to be fair, he was still right up on the back of Jerome, but lost out a little bit with that dirty air. But being that third car in the DRS train, not going to be working out for Pease. 11 lap old medium tires as well compared to those fresh softs from Jerome. It's going to be a bit of a challenge for Pease if he wants to make something done. I think he's going to start to feel it a little bit with that early pit stop that he took, getting off the soft tires a lot earlier than the rest of the field did previously in this race. But gap now, lap 22, 3.2 seconds. So you can see QVR Campbell and Jerome, for that matter, they're closing on Nathan, but lap 22 out of 26. I think the bigger question is going to start to come out on, will they have enough time to close that gap and also try an overtake or two before the end of this race. About 30% battery for Nathan as he's just trying to keep that gap to around 3 seconds, as we've got a yellow flag, as that's
it's a safety car. But the thing is, though, I don't think Nathan can pit because it's lap 22 out of 26. He's going to fall all down the field because I don't think QVR Campbell will pit. I don't think Giroud will pit. Kitten, I don't think he'll pit either. You don't want to lose track position. But Nathan's in massive trouble here then, because the difference in tyres between the mediums and the softs. But Nolan then looks like he lost it coming out on the exit of against Beckett, and looks like he lost it halfway down the straight as well. I went on board with Killer Blue, but I couldn't quite see Nolan there. But yeah, Nathan's in a really difficult position because he was looking down. He was looking good to try and keep off QVR Campbell and Giroud, but he doesn't go in the pit lane. He can't. There's not enough laps to do so. So he's going to be under massive pressure. QVR Campbell and Giroud can essentially smell a victory now, as their job is much easier as the gap's been massively reduced towards Nathan. So let's see then. When the safety car does come in, Nathan's worst nightmare was a safety car, and this came sadly for him. So if he could hold these guys off, that'd be an amazing victory there, because he's done a lot of hard work as Nathan essentially leading all this race and having the paces ball to go with it, but sadly for him, his lead has been wiped out. Got to do it all over again, but it could be much difficult this time because of the tyre difference.
Yeah, the tire difference is going to play a huge factor here for the end of this race. I mean, I'm not surprised that that Nathan stayed out. Same thing with Pease, with how many laps that are left in this Grand Prix. Only about 3 laps to go, and less once it comes in. You really can't afford to take a pit stop if you're this high up in the field. You gotta take track position and just hope you can hold off here. They will have an opportunity to charge their battery, which is going to help out just a little bit, but so will everybody else. You can see QVR Campbell, Jerome at 100%. Nathan's going to bring that battery up to 100% as well. Down near the bottom of the field, those pit stops, I'm not surprised. The likes of Larkin, Mark, Wouter Rocco, and Killer Blue, they've got nothing really to lose. They might as well just pit for that fresh set of tires and try and see what they can do with the limited amount of time left in this race. See if they can salvage some points on a couple of those medium tire runners that are behind there. But it's gonna be an interesting one here, as safety car is gonna be out for probably up until the end of lap 24, I'd say. I think we're going to have one more lap under safety car before it comes in and race those final 2 laps. The question is Nathan going to be able to hold on, or are we going to see the likes of QVR Campbell, Jerome try and overtake? I think a lot of it here initially is going to rely on the restart, how Nathan is going to approach this safety car restart. I think I'll be honest here. I think for Nathan, the big key is going to be trying to catch QVR Campbell and Jerome napping on the safety car restart, maybe just enough to allow them to possibly maybe fight each other, which could allow Nathan to build just enough of a gap. Of course, that's a lot easier said than done, as of course QVR Campbell and Jerome know what's on the line, but the 2 soft tire runners end up fighting amongst each other rather than focusing on the bigger prize and then duking it out for the win. That could be what Nathan is hoping for here, and if not, I think Nathan just he just got a little unlucky with when that safety car came out. I mean, of course, if it came out, on lap, what was it, 17, 18, it wouldn't be all that bad, but with how late it did come out, just kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, just having to stick it out to the end. But I guess we'll have to see how it's all going to play out. But I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have your popcorn, I think now would be a good time to get it, because we're going to be in for a good finish to this Grand Prix, I'm sure.
Yeah, QVR Campbell, he knows it's a massive opportunity to try and take this win now. All eyes on him, and also Chiruviza. How hard will these soft runners fight as well? Like you said, can Nathan catch him napping as well on the safety car restart? Let's see how he judges this. If he wins this race, it'll be a fantastic achievement for him. Holding off 2 soft runners, very fast drivers indeed, those guys behind him, so can't wait to see how it all pans out. But yeah, QVR Campbell, he knows he's got the freshest softs out of all of them, the fresher tyres out of all of them. He knows it's his big chance to win this race, and let's see if he can take it. But the only benefit Nathan's got is that there'll be no DRS then at the end of this race, as it has 2 laps to activate, and we've got 2 laps left in this race then. So Nathan has that advantage. Let's see, he's got the outright pace to try and hold off QVR Campbell on Jaruvis. But here we go then. You can see them getting a little bit of extra temperature in these tyres, allowing the safety car to go in. And it'll be Nathan's choice where he could go or not, as we make our way into Stowe then at very slow speed. But when would he go? Would he go here, or would he go towards the last 3 corners? Probably the final corner, because it's a difficult corner to try and build up traction. But here he goes then already onto the final few parts of the lap. Last 3 corners then, QVR Campbell has much better grip, and let's see then where he will try and go for it. Will he try and go for it as turn 1 if he's too close to behind? No, he's not. He'll be definitely down at Brooklands then if you get a good exit coming out of turn number 4, turn number 5. But it looks like rotations had a problem coming out the final corner. He's dropped all the way down in last place. Mark's picked up a 3-second time penalty. He's just overtaken ISRL Larkin. Those two are held to fight for P11. But QVR Campbell, can he set himself up there? You can see him sliding a little bit as Kitter's overtaken Peas. But here we go then, onto the straight. You can see Nathan weaving to try and break the slipstream. But not close enough on this occasion is QVR Campbell. Let's see then if he can try and get him down into Stowe, or possibly down into Cops if he's got the run coming out of Luffield. He'll have more grip on these parts of the track here, the most technical part of the track. But Nathan's got a good launch coming out of the corner and stays ahead for the time being. It's all down to Maggins and Beckett, and let's see then if he can get him into Stowe.
Yeah, we'll take a look. Unsurprising that QVR Campbell didn't try something, even if he did have the run into Cops corner, bringing back vivid memories of last year with the incident that shall not be named, I guess. Ooh, but going on the grass a little bit does QVR Campbell. That's going to compromise his run here, going down the hanger straight. Still closing though, using a decent amount of battery, but not enough to get the overtake done. Meanwhile, Jerome, you saw he didn't get the restart he was hoping for all that much. Fell back right from the get-go, and unless he's got a fantastic final lap, he might have put himself out of contention. Ben taking a pit stop here. I'm not too sure what that is, but here we go. QVR Campbell right up on the back of Nathan here as they're starting the final lap of this Grand Prix. Is he going to try to send it into turn 3? No, he's not. I think he's going to wait for DRS, but he's got to stay along the back here, nail that exit. He makes it move to the inside, but just can't quite find the traction there, using up the battery. Now you can see Nathan moving to the left, trying to break the toe, but QVR Campbell right up on the back. They're going to go side by side now, just about. Nathan just able to keep ahead for the time being, but side by side now. Oh, they nearly made contact. Oh, it was nearly catastrophic there with the what we've seen in the past. They're wheel to wheel approaching Cops. How is this gonna play out? They make it through, but Nathan had to go way wide, and here comes Jerome now, who's involved with this 0.2 of a second back. There's more contact between the two of them. Nathan having to back out, and now Jerome making contact a little bit. But QVR Campbell getting ahead. Nathan, I think, just ran out of gas there, so to say, figuratively, not literally, as QVR Campbell gets ahead. But can he keep a P2 here? Is now Jerome trying to stick it around the outside. There's still wheel to wheels. They're approaching the final few corners now. Nathan just ahead, but once again having to go wide. He's feeling the pressure as Jerome moves up into second, but QVR Campbell takes the victory here as a little bit of fireworks there crossing the line. But what a finale that was there. Final few laps. QVR Campbell going very daring, making the overtake stick around Cops. For Nathan, if he was able to keep it on track, it could have been a different story, but just had to go a little bit wide, and after that, the rest was history there. But whew, what a final lap and a half we had there.
I thought Javu Vizza was going to be the victory at the end of this. How hard QVR Campbell and Nathan were fighting, especially down at Maggins and Beckett's, where you don't usually see side-by-side action. But it's the last lap. You got to go for it, all or nothing for both of them on there. But congratulations for QVR Campbell and Javu Vizza P1 and P2. Nathan's left the session. He's very frustrated. I can imagine that. Done nothing wrong. He tried everything on that last lap, and even more so by using all the track and more of it. But sadly for him, it didn't work out in the end. There's still P3, but he knows he could have won this race if it wasn't for the safety car. So yeah, it's a massive shame. But look at Kitten from P14 up into P4. What a fantastic job for him. Both Ferraris and P5 P6. ISRL Larkin spent most of the race at the back, and he got himself up into P6. So good job from him to get both Ferraris up into P5 and P6. Stephen in P7 there. Carl Mensless for P17 to P8. While to P9 is also one of those drivers put on the first lap. P's fall down to P10 due to those penalties. 9 seconds in P's, so he didn't really enjoy this track, did he? Killer Blue in P11 ahead of Mark, Calvin in P13, Jamie 1 in P14, rotation P15. XL Rocco spun on the last lap, fell down to P16 with Luke in P17 and Ben JS. Nolan as well down in last place. But what a race that was, I couldn't believe it. Those final few laps, high mouth moments, anything could have happened there, but in the end it was QVR Campbell who came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, a solid drive there. The strategy worked out for him. Like you said, Nathan, he did everything he could. He did everything right, so to say. Just I mean, the luck didn't fall his way with when that safety car came out. I mean, sometimes that happens. It is a part of racing. I'm sure Nathan, leaving the session, not happy about that at all. As of course, I don't blame him one bit. But I mean, sometimes the luck falls your way, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, it was still a crazy final lap. I think I was mentioning on lap 25 that, I mean, a little daring going side by side around Cop's corner, but lap 26, Cuvier Campbell said, well, hang on, hold my drink, I'm going to show you how it's done, and essentially pulled that off to perfection there. And I mean, I have to agree. Here at the end of it, I thought Chiron was going to take that victory. I was half expecting a collision. We've seen that. I mean, one too many times, but not quite the case. Cuvier Campbell takes the win. I mean, that medium to soft strategy. I think it was a toss-up on which strategy was going to be the best one at the end of the day, but I think that safety car, with when it came out, essentially swung the pedestal towards the medium to soft, just being on that quicker tire when the grid got bunched up right at the end of the session, really just made the difference there. Yeah, I mean, that was a great race. Congrats to the winners. Congrats to the podiums. We'll see if we can get some interviews in. I think I know a lot of the podium don't really do them too much. I'll send them out. We'll see with the way Nathan left. I don't know if he's really in the mood to talk about that race, if I'm being honest. But we'll try to get them in either way to see if we can get a little bit of thought here at the end of that race. As I'm just getting the invite sent now. Okay, so, and it was... Oh, okay. So y'all already have access to the comms room for the post race interviews. So I guess we'll give it a little bit just to see if anybody wants to jump in, and we do actually have Nathan who jumped in. So Nathan, can you hear us at all?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll jump into you. We'll jump into you first. So, I mean, it was a good qualifying for you, albeit with those wet weather conditions. Managed to put the car up there like you normally could. I think I was mentioning to the stream your race strategy. You did everything pretty much perfect, all considered. It just didn't work out for you right at the end there. A little bit of bad luck. But talk us through it. What were your thoughts here on that race?
Yeah, obviously quality was probably as best I could have hoped for. Still kind of learning the new controller, and obviously wet conditions is a bit hard when your throttle you can't really feel, but yeah, Peter obviously really happy with that. And then yeah, obviously with your own starting on mediums, which was a case of getting in front of him, and then was surprised at the lack of pace from Peace. Obviously dropped him out of DRS, and then yeah, like you said, just a perfect race up until the safety car happened, and then yeah, when it's medium to soft, there's not really much like you can do. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to ask here with that safety car coming out, knowing that you had both Campbell and Jerome on those soft tires behind you, did it cross your mind to go into the pits, put on that fresher set, and hope for the best, or were you committed to stick with the tires, keep that track position, and just hope you can fend off for the last few laps?
Was never going to pit, obviously, because Britain's heavy DRS train track, as you probably would have saw from there. Obviously, there was quite a few battles, but at the same time, like, you just like as soon as you're behind, I don't know, like 2 cars, it's pretty much impossible to pass. So yeah, I was never going to pit, but obviously without the safety car, the softs, like, they were catching a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. But yeah, as soon as the safety car came out, like I knew at least one of them was probably going to get past, unless I could like perfectly drive away or just like keep him behind. But yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, a little unfortunate. And now I did want to ask here, just on that last lap, I'll mention the overtake into cops. Were you expecting that move at all, or did that catch you a little bit by surprise?
Which one? What, the Euro one?
I think the QVR Campbell there into Cop's corner on the final lap. I saw you went a little bit wide there, so I don't know if you were expecting that overtake or if you were just a little surprised by it when it happened.
Um, Obviously through left field, like Campbell sent it to the inside, so we were side by side up to the cops, and yeah, it was just a case of just try and keep it as long, because as soon as like was gonna go behind, like it was pretty much done, so I just had to keep it there as long as possible. And yeah, two cars through Maggers and Beckett's don't really go, so it was like lucky that both of us managed to get through there, and then yeah, your own getting past was just kind of inevitable with the soft advantage.
And Jamie, anything to add to that at all?
You had very good pace throughout the whole race, mate. Like, you did a fantastic job overall, but yeah, safety car, it just didn't go your way whatsoever. So I just want to say massive congratulations, mate, on what you could do, because you put up a good fight towards the end, some entertainment as well for us back at home watching. So you did all you could, mate, and yeah, I know you don't want to. I know you're not happy with P3, but P3 still good results. So come back stronger next race, mate.
Yeah, cheers, thank you very much, both our comms as well.
Perfect, thanks, and yeah, congratulations on the finish, even though I'm sure it wasn't the one you were hoping for. Now, I did see QVR Campbell jumping in as well. So, QVR Campbell, can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, yeah.
Perfect. So, I mean, it was, I think, an all right qualifying for you. Maybe not what you're hoping for, from what I remember, but I'll call it the alternate strategy, starting on the mediums, going towards the softs, and even I think you had extended those mediums quite a bit there. It worked out for you in the end. A little bit of luck on your side as well, but talk us through it first and foremost. What were your thoughts here after that race?
Yeah, so as you say, qualifying was not great. I crashed on my final run coming out of Chapel, going to the back straight. I was a couple tenths up, probably could have went around 4th, 5th maybe. But yeah, I just lost on the curb. Probably a good thing, to be honest, seeing after what happened at the start. Being further back, I could avoid it and ended up around P6. Then it's just sitting in the train, keeping back ERS until right at the end of the stunt, we're extended by the couple laps, as you said. Had a full tank, full battery just to drain and do what I could, because I knew the guys behind were fighting and swapping a lot. So just kind of playing it smart with that, staying out longer, draining my ERS, running in clean air, putting in good lap times, helped me jump in between Pease and Stephen. And then yeah, from that point I thought, right, we'll go for P2 because I have the fresh softs compared to your own, and I'll be able to get through Pease quite easily. Then of course safety car comes out, and then a chance at the win's on. I like the battle we had at the end. I think I had to set it up quite well, because both of us had a full tank of ERS again to use. So, and with no DRS, it was going to be very difficult to do a normal overtake, if you want to call it that. So, setting up for Luffield into Cops was probably the best spot to do it. And then yeah, respecting everything, we managed to get through Maggots and Beckett's probably as best as you can. 2 cars there at that speed and state in the race. So yeah, respect him for that, and I'm a bit unexpected to have won the race, but happy nonetheless.
Yeah. Now I did notice once I made through the field up into second, I was seeing the gap to P1. It was closing little by little, lap after lap. Of course, the safety car did help out, but did you have confidence that even without the safety car, you would have been able to catch up with that fresher set of tires and maybe try to go for the win, or were you just content with, okay, I've got P2, this might be the best I've got here? Yeah, I guess that's my question.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. I was gaining by like maybe 6 tenths a lap, which it's a good amount, but I think I would have gotten DRS on the last lap, but I don't think I would have had enough to actually make the overtake. So I guess the safety car definitely helped with that. But yeah, realistically, I'd accepted it was probably going to be P2 if Nathan made no mistakes, which it didn't seem like he was going to do, because he was in command all race. So the safety car definitely helped.
Yeah, and Jamie, anything to add to that at all?
Congratulations, you've pretty much answered answered my questions, Eric. So just congratulations on the win, mate. I know you've been quite unlucky this season. I mentioned it loads of times, but I'm very nice to see you have a victory here. Is it your second victory this season?
Second after Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go, mate. You did a fantastic job, mate. I'm really happy to see you on the podium again and winning the race. But how does it affect your? It's Australia next race, I think. And how are you looking? How are you looking forward to the track? And it was a difficult one.
Kinda. Like I've got a setup nailed down there, so I shouldn't have to worry about that too much. But it's just such an awkward track to hook up lap on. I think if I can do a decent qualifying time, I'll be fine. But it's that the hooking up a lap when it matters in qualifying. So yeah, I guess we'll find out next week because I could give you it could go one or two very different ways.
Yeah, congratulations on the win, mate. Fantastic job. I really enjoyed your battle towards the end. Heart and mouth moment for you at the end there with Nathan.
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult for Cops. Magus Beckett is one of the fastest parts on the track, so yeah, it'd be difficult to get to a car through there, but I think we did it as best as you could do. So, a bit heart and mouth, but we managed to do it.
Congrats, mate.
Thank you.
Yep, congratulations. I'll say a well-earned victory for you there. Right at the end, making it work. But I think that's just about going to do it here for the stream. So before we wrap things up, Jamie, any final words?
Hope you enjoyed this weekend with Imola and Portimao with F1 and MotoGP. Hope you enjoyed that this weekend, and see you all next weekend at Australia. And thank you for commentating with me again, Eric.
No problem. Thank you for joining me in the booth once again. That's going to do it here for the stream this week, ladies and gentlemen. We had lots of great racing action throughout the divisions, and of course, we saw the Imola Grand Prix, and that was a great one as well. Very very exciting. I was happy with the result. I'll say that much. But of course, for ISRL, we'll be back same time, same place next week. As Jamie, you hinted that out. Will be taken to Melbourne Park Circuit. It's going to be the Australian Grand Prix. You're not going to want to miss that one. Like I said, same time, same place. So tune in. You're not going to want to miss it. But until then, on behalf of Jamie, myself, and everybody here at ISRL Esports, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.